So, um, this is essentially a video of me rambling while I maybe do some code stuff in the background, maybe just Google some things. And essentially, these are just thoughts that, um, just thoughts. These thoughts are my own, right? Let's preface with that. And yeah, so what's on my mind? Well, first, let me tell you who I am. I'm Devontae. Let's just say I'm Vaughn, right? My name on here is Wovart X. And you can say, well, let's just let you figure out what that means and what that means to you. Um, I'm an engineer. I write code, but that's not really a thing anymore, right? Like writing code. I guess I don't know what to call it. Because write code isn't really what it is, right? Like I can prompt whatever model I want right now, and like this writes code. You can say I instruct models. Maybe I'm a prompt engineer. Who knows, right? What this new thing is that we're becoming. But let's just say this: I can build. Oh fuck! I've been recording with the record shit right here, so let's close that. So let's just say I am a person that can manipulate a computer given enough time and brain power, right? That's what I can do. But I wouldn't even limit it and say just a computer. I would say I'm a person that can manipulate anything given enough time and brain power. Uh, so what is this, right? So I got this new Windows PC. Well, I built a PC. I was running Linux, so it's like, you know what? I want a game on it, so let's put Windows on it. As you can see, like I still have like the activate Windows watermark here, and this is just I'm like, you know what? I got WSL because I don't even know like Windows commands. So I got WSL and you know what, let's set this up so I can start like some development on it. So I just say, hey, do this. Do this thing for me. Write a script that can do this stuff. Um at first I wrote it I had a file new setup.typescript and I was like, wait, that's not right. Let's write me a bash script. So, and it pretty much just installs NVM, Node, Python, Poetry, Bun, just stuff for regular development. But it's like, this is the thing. I didn't write any of this code, but it does the same thing as if I did write it myself. Now, the question is the skill of being able to write this code going to go away? I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, like, I can understand this code. Like, just intuitive, some function, run command, check command. These are functions. Uh, then this is what we're passing. When we run command this, log this, right? Echo, and then whatever you pass. So this is the first parameter. This is the second parameter, right? So it's like you can kind of intuit these things if you were already a programmer, but um, do you is the skill going to go away like, as far as like you don't need to know like certain things how you did before? I think so. Um, I think it's just the landscape's changing, just like with anything. I think it's just different. Like, but prior to IDEs, like people were writing code by hand. Like, what's that lady name? Like the lady who wrote the code to go to the moon. Yeah, like Margaret Hamilton. Like this lady. This lady wrote. Apparently, this lady wrote the code to go to the moon. Let's see. Right. NASA's lead software engineer, and they say she wrote this by hand. It's like what am I supposed to do with that? Like could I do that today? Could the best engineers do this? Mm, probably not. Like I doubt the best engineers could write code by hand. This much code that compiles, right? That like actually works. Um, wait, you can. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, I don't think people can do that. I don't think that's real. I don't think that's a thing anymore. So, like, what happened? Do we lose? Can't do we lose the skill? Like now that I'm writing that code in IDE, like this is like this right here. This was probably nothing to her. Could she write? Could Margaret today write this? Could Margaret today set up a React app? You would think like, nah, this is way harder. She could for sure set up a React app, but things don't necessarily work like that. Like it was her way of knowing how to do whatever she was doing when she was programming back then. So you change the landscape, you take away that and you give her IDE, a computer, might be easier, might be a little bit more difficult. Depends on her level of conformity, like how can and her adaptability. Like can she adapt? Does she conform easily? Like it's like all these other factors that you got to account for to say that. So I don't know. What do I think? I think using AI allows you to frees up brain power. Like for example, before I would have to like go in. I remember when I first started programming, and I would literally need like it's like syntax errors would stop me. Like not knowing like it's a semicolon like needs to be there, and then running it and running it and running it, and then like why isn't it working? And I remember my first project where it was really just a simple website, but I had to like any other client app with JavaScript, like I had to install a bunch of like packages, code that I didn't write, and something was breaking. Uh, something was breaking my app. I didn't know why it wouldn't build, and I Googled and Googled and Googled. I remember I Googled this thing for like 2 months trying to figure out what was going on, and it was pretty much like a version of Webpack was incompatible with like some other library that I was using, so I had to like downgrade it or whatever. But it took me forever, literally a month to figure that out. Granted, I was new to programming. Like I had literally only been programming for maybe 3 months at this time. So maybe 2 months. So it was all new, but still it's like today, if I if something's not working here or in another app that I have, like in this other app that I got, that's for my app, right? Like a lot of this is AI. Like there's no point in me going hand by hand, like really trying to write the code by hand. Like, I mean, unless I have to, unless it's something that I like need to get. But like even little things, like I wouldn't do. Like I keep my mind at that high level because then I can leave. Then that's extra brain power. Now I can start thinking about like actual things. So whereas before I would have to It would take a lot of brain power to think about this. I could just think about this at a high level, how I want to operate, go back and forth with whatever model that I want to use, build it, uh, and then I can stay operating at that high level. So now I see the whole thing. So like I know we have this cash registry, right? And I know that certain things on the back end are being cached, right? And then plus, like if I forget something, just like with any repo, like even working at a company, some repos like you haven't worked in a long time, you forget. You forget like, man, I forgot how this worked. This simple this route. I forgot what's actually going on here. And you have to go back into it and go read the code and say, oh, okay, that's how it works. So it's like I don't think it's no different if you have AI write the code. Like AI write a bunch of code. Maybe you forgot about it. Maybe you need to go back in and look at it. So like I know we have so I know I architect this in a way that we have providers, right? An AI provider, and the AI provider just a class that has two functions, complete and complete stream, right? Because that's like the only thing that's the only thing that we can say that like all like everyone's gonna have because they're gonna complete stream, pass some messages, pass some models, some and some options, right? We can look at this if we want, but it's just some stuff, web search, temperature max tokens. Most of this stuff doesn't get used. Just web search really gets passed, but and then provider is just a name, and does it support streaming? Because some of these stuff don't. Some of these providers don't support streaming. Some of the APIs, right? And we got an AI stream chunk with just a bunch of stuff. Tokens used, which is like the most important. Um, Finish reason doesn't get used. All this stuff is for downstream. Um, and AI completion results. So you see, but like this URL to base 64, like I didn't write this. Like, I mean, I can look at it and see, okay, we're fetching something, turning to a rate buffer, and then converting it to base 64, and then returning it, getting the mean type, or setting the PNG, then returning the base 64 in the mean type. Like, I can read the code and like, okay, now, but I didn't write it. It got done what needed to be get done, but I didn't have to waste the brain power writing it because it's trivial. Like writing this URL to basic, like that's trivial, right? Uh, X provider, right? X provider implements AI provider, right? I know this, right? We know how this works, so we know we architect it in a way that okay, we know that we have a base AI provider class. We know that we have different providers, and we know that they implement that class, right? And we know that they're going to at least implement two functions, which is complete and what was the other one? Complete stream. So we know, okay, everything else downstream of that, we know that it's going to be a complete stream, and they're going to return an AI completion result or an AI stream chart. We don't necessarily have to come in here and write like line by line. We X code, Grok code, implement this complete function using X's AI API. Boom. Okay, now do it for Open Router. Boom. Okay, now do it for OpenAI. Now do it for Grok. Now do it for Google. Now do it for Anthropic. Right. Oh, Anthropic has this specific thing that does this with the for that. Okay, boom. Write the function. I don't care. Write the function. I just know I just need this complete uh function to be working, and I need to return exactly what I expect to return. I need to be working exactly how I expect it to be working. Oh, we need to build Anthropic content. Okay, build it. Write the function that does that. Whereas before, like I would have to waste the brain power to go to Anthropic API, right? Test out the API, see what it returns, read the docs, write the code, realize it does this different than the other APIs. Write this function. Implement the function. Test it out. Make sure it like and your level of I guess experience determines how long that takes. Does that take you a long time? Does that take you a short time? But still, it takes you time and it takes you energy. Whereas now, that takes you no time, no energy. There's no need. So, what we're doing with AI, I mean, it's like almost anything can be. What stops you now? What's the key now? What's the value now? I believe is just your imagination, your mind. You can almost write any piece of code, any software can be written. Like you can create things like whereas before, like if I had this idea about this, like it would take me time to even write out this back end, write out tests. Like that was oh my god, I remember writing tests at work. My god, I used to hate writing tests. I hated adding tests. Um, but then it's like then it's like okay, I don't really care. Sometimes you need tests. Like that's what you realize. Like okay, like nah, like tests actually make my job easier because if something breaks, then that's gonna make my job harder. So I might as well write these tests. Might as well ensure that everything actually works. But having to go through step by step and just use the brain power to like just write the test, it's like whereas I know that what the test should do, I can understand what's actually going on in the test and read the test, but I don't have to waste the brain power to go line by line. I think that's the benefit. I think it keeps you sharp. I think it keeps you on point. But I think it reserves that in brain and power, that energy that we were using to go line by line, character by character. We can now alleviate that, and that then goes to something else. So now problems that and who knows, this could be the good or bad. So now you know an idle mind, right? Like that could be good, that could be bad. The idle mind for that's used for good is probably going to go on and create different types of software, new things, new ways of development, maybe even new ways of life. The other way, obviously is going to be hesitant and resistant to change, um, and can't do anything about that. So in another video, I'll actually go through all of this and talk about like why and then like come on now like come on this is stuff that you would this would be acceptable at your job like you're like this would be acceptable at your job. You go to work, you write code, they're checking out the this this back end. They're like we go in, we see health routes, health handler. Well, let's go to something image gen handler. Like the code is the code is good. Like this is what it's structured. The repo and everything is structured right. Like okay, maybe we can go in and optimize things a bit more. But that's what you can go in and do. You can go in and optimize things a bit more, but that's up to you. Now there's no bottleneck. You can write any piece of software, anything you want. The only bottleneck is your mind.